JCLady.
Hi there, this is Joanna from the channel JCLady Alternative Education. So today we've got the fourth series of grammar, fourth series and fourth playlist on the YouTube channel JCLady, and you can find it over there. We are talking all the time about Polish grammar as an example of an ancient grammar. Now, it's attached to my books because I'm basically talking about my books. And now we are talking about the fourth books of mine, which is called Comparative Grammar. And basically, two first playlists were about Polish grammar theory, and two second playlists. Now I'm making the fourth now. It's about the comparative grammar. Now I'm comparing Polish, English and French, but of course there's also Sanskrit and Latin involved, and other Slavic languages often too. Now, I promised a topic that was supposed to be, in fact, in the third series, about parts of speech versus parts of a sentence. I consider it's a very huge topic and difficult to talk about to English speakers, and then I will do it in French. So to French speakers, it can be difficult too. And so I decided to put it in the fourth series. So let's start. That's the topic. Parts of speech versus parts of a sentence. Now, what's the problem? To me, the problem is that I see really, when you look at languages, comparing them, right? When we compare them, I see a big difference between Polish as an ancient language and sub-languages which really take a lot from ancient languages, such as Latin, for example. A lot, like all the names and structures are from very similar to Latin, but at the same time it's so simplified in grammar that it's difficult to talk about to me, because we, in our Polish grammar, just like in Latin or in Sanskrit, we have all the ideas that were basics. We've got all the conjugations and declinations, and Polish and Sanskrit are really very huge in that matter, bigger than there's more of it than in Latin even. Therefore, there is also lots of knowledge about the analysis, logical and grammatical, of sentences. So when we go to, it's even complicated when we are on the level of parts of speech, words, with when there are declinations or there are not. Now when we go to syntax, to long sentences, it's getting really complicated. Now, my goal here is to talk about Polish, basically, as an ancient grammar, as an ancient language, so ancient grammar. So I want to explain how it is in Polish, meaning that I want to tell you how it is with parts of speech and parts of a sentence in Polish. And now we try to explain using the Latin names, and in fact using the names that exists in English and French, but you have a tendency not to use it. Now I try to find out whether you teach the logical analysis of a sentence or grammatical in schools, and the answers are vague, like maybe yes, no. So I don't know, maybe some places yes, some places no. In Poland, we teach it. in present grammar, even like in lessons of Polish now, we still have it, and it's a huge topic. However, it's not really well explained, and the children have problems with that. But we teach it. We've got really the whole analysis of grammatical, meaning parts of speech, and the whole analysis which is logical of a sentence. A single sentence, simple, and compound, right? And we have all those names, not even from Latin. I mean, they are not Latin directly, they are Polish. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell you how it is in Polish, how it is in Latin, and how it is in English. Okay, let's do it. Let's start with general idea. We've got speech. Speech is just a potential, basically, random words, because that's what it is. It's a potential. It's a kind of bag, like here, look. It's a kind of bag, a collection of different fruits, let's say, and those fruits can be parts of speech. Now, when you want to do something proper with it, when you really get the essence, a meaning, you need to make a jam, and those are parts of a sentence that you use to obtain sentences. Or another way of explaining it. You've got here speech, mowa, in Polish, mowa, in English, speech. So here are parts of speech, noun, verb, adverb, and so on. And they've got some identity, personality, of course. They've got some names. Here it's like persons, right? Like people. Like this is Ola, etc., right? Parts of a speech, but they are independent. They don't. They are like, you know, the children at school. I mean, they are all mixed together when they are running around in the court, right? But then they go to classes. They go to school, for example. They've got some roles, but better is to explain. Here I put family, home. When they go home, you've got roles or functions, and you make a kind of set, right? To obtain something, to be a family, you have functions. Like mother is a function, even that mother has some personality, like, I don't know, Angelina, whatever. She's a mother. Here, father and son and daughter. Functions. And those functions are parts of a sentence. And that's a sentence, or the whole expression. Or you go to work, to factory, I don't know, somewhere, to the office, and you've got some roles, functions, jobs, to obtain some end product. And that's your sentence. And those functions are parts of a sentence. Now, why is that? It's we cannot really, however, I see you really do it in English and French sometimes. You mix it together. You often use the same names for parts of speech and parts of a sentence, which is not really proper, I would say, because you lose the idea of passing, like from speech to a sentence. This is the random, here are random words, like speech is something you hear. It's like singing of birds, or like listening to a language, foreign language you don't understand. There is something, but you don't put it together, you don't have the meaning. You get the meaning here. Here is just grammatical. You can, it's like when you start listening, right, to something, you get like basic ideas. This word is shorter, this longer, and so on, right? So like a verb, noun, and so on. Basics. But then if you want to get the full meaning, you need to use parts, meaning logic. You need to use logic. It has to be a sentence, has to be order, and parts of speech must go in certain, like must go in relations one to another to create a meaning. Right? And at school in Polish, we do it very thoroughly. It's very lots of hours for understanding that, right? That passing from here to here, here to here, or not really passing really, but naming. Like there is analysis, a grammatical analysis of some expressions, and analytical, logical. But that's the easiest I can explain. It's like that. Okay, I already talked about it, in fact, because I talked about already parts of speech. And so I already said what are the parts of speech, and they are, okay, now, we can argue, because Latin has some other idea. Usually in English, in French, if you already give names to parts of speech or parts of a sentence, you take it from Latin. Now, in Polish, the ideas are a little different, and in my grammar, I throw out already the particle, which was in Latin. And to me, there are normally 9 parts of speech. Now I count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I don't have here all of them. Okay, I've got all of them. 9 of them, because I'm not counting particle, right? Particle. I don't think so. It's a part of speech. You've got 9 of them, parts of speech. I put it here in English like this. It will be available. You will be able to look at it on the screen. And now it's like this. Noun, what you usually say, a noun. That's in Latin, it's called substantivum. Now, when I looked at analysis of logical analysis or even grammatical in English, I don't know where you do it. Maybe at schools, but it's not really in manuals for foreign language teachers or learners. I've never seen that, but maybe you just do it at the university level. I have no idea. I found it, the names are like that. So you say noun or substantivum from Latin. Adjective, which is adjectivum, right? Pronoun, which is pronomen in Latin. Numeral, which is numerale. Verb, which is verbum, adverb, adverbium, preposition, which is prepositio, conjunction, which is conjunctio, and exclamation, which is interjectio in Latin, and that makes 9. And as you see, it's you've got practically the same names, right, for parts of speech. So they come from Latin. Now, in those are parts of speech. There are more of them. And in fact, when we talk about parts of speech, it's like each word counts separately. So, for example, you can have, I don't know, 7 parts of speech in a sentence, but let's say 5 parts of a sentence. But basically, there are 5 parts of a sentence. There is a subject, and this is used often, even in grammars for foreign language learners. Usually you've got subject and object, and you say verb. But subject is subjectum in Latin. That's part of a sentence. And that's an actor, the person who acts in a sentence, the mover. And then you've got the verb, that you often say verb, just like here, but that's it creates misunderstandings. In fact, it should be called predicate, right? And in Latin, it's predicatum. Then you've got attribute, which in Polish is przydawka. I will tell you Polish names in a moment. And it's in Latin attributum, so it's the same, attribute. And then you've got object, objectum, and then you've got adverbial, which is adverbial. And I must see that in normal, regular, simple grammars for foreign language learners, or even online, I couldn't find it. I usually found the usage of subject and object, and sometimes predicate. There is adverbial, usually when you go to like long sentences, compound, right? So there are adverbial structures, etc., etc., right? But if you don't talk about what is adverbial, basically as a part of a sentence, I consider it difficult and unclear for learners to catch, like, what are those sentences? How do you create them? Okay, what I mean by that? I mean by that in English and French, I see that it's kind of as if you would you teach about words, expressions, right? Small structures, and then you jump into big structures, big sentences, compound sentences often, and you talk about conjunctions, maybe those structures, and you give them some names, but you skip all that topic of when parts of speech become parts of a sentence. And I consider it illogical. When you skip that, it's difficult for children and for learners, for example, such as us, Poles, or Slavic people who have that knowledge or logical analysis of a sentence. When you skip it, it's difficult to learn a language, because we don't really grasp, like, what are those compound sentences, like, what is it based in, like, where, why, what. You skipped something. That's as if I would absent some lessons. Do you understand? That's illogical to us, learning like that, teaching like that. Okay, let's go in details. Okay, and now I will tell something like that. Why we cannot use the same names for parts of speech and parts of a sentence? Because when you go at the level of parts of a sentence, it's not like one-to-one exchange. Meaning, of course, the predicate, it's always a verb, but it can be also a more complicated structure than just one verb. That's first. Then, for example, all the also the subject. The subject doesn't always has to be a noun. Like, for example, mother goes to a store. Mother is a subject, but I can have something else as a subject. It can be a pronoun. She goes to a store. So it's not like one-to-one. So you have to have another name, meaning that the noun can have different functions. Or a verb even, because you can have a sentence such as smoking is, or smoking kills you. Kills is a verb, predicate. But smoking, that's a subject. But it's a verb. Okay? That's why you need to make a difference. There is a logical passage, like between a whole this potential of speech random like words that are moving around everywhere in the universe, and then you choose them, and give them the function, some other name, and put it in some proper place in a sentence, right? But the same word, mother, for example, can be in such function in one sentence or another function in even the same sentence. Right? Like, for example, mother or my mother goes to a store with your mother. Okay. Parts of a sentence. There are 5 of them. I once invented that, and now I tried to translate into English, or basically Latin. In Polish, I say that the schemata, that's the how to say? Yeah, a kind of schemata for parts of a sentence. It's like that. P-P-O-O-D. In Polish, it makes pod, which is under, but it's just a shortcut that it's easy to remember. This is Polish, but I will show you in English it's or Latin, it would be similar, but you will not find it anywhere. That's my invention. But it's clear because you always separate a sentence, so also parts of a sentence, into groups. There is always a group of an actor, for example, this mother, meaning the subject, and a group of the action, meaning the verb, meaning the predicate or predicate. And those serves here and those serves here. They don't mix together. And there's one parts of a sentence that can describe or serve here in this group or in this group. And that makes this schemata or model. In English, so in Polish it's POD. In English it would be like that. What does it mean? Here is a subject. Here is a predicate, right? Verb. Actor, action. Here is a description of here's a description of a subject. And what is interesting is that you've got here AA and here SP, so it's also kind of easier, right? So you've got SAPAO. Okay, subject has the description, meaning parts of a sentence that serves it, describes it, and it's attribute. Or usually I've heard attribute, but that's attributum in Latin. Attribute meaning this is something that you can attach to that one. This describes that. That's higher, that's lower. Okay, that's a servant for that one, for the subject. Here you've got the predicate, meaning the action, the verb, and you've got here a or a in English. It's adverbial. Adverbial is a part of a sentence that can be a word or a few words. Often it's a few words. Now here, O, it serves here or here, and it's an object. It's an object. Now, and this up till here, I think it's okay. Now, it gets really complicated when you say like, so what is what? Okay, subject, I think it's easy, right? Subject is the actor, like a mother goes to a store. So that's a mother. Or smoking kills you, right? So that's smoking. That's an actor. But in Polish and in old ancient languages, in Latin, when you do the logical analysis of a sentence, you use questions. Because the parts of speech, as well as parts of sentence, have questions. So when you've got the want to do the logical analysis or create a sentence, you use questions. So here it's like who or what is acting or acts, right? Who's the actor? Who or what? Who? A mother. And here P, predicate, like what does it do? What is the action? What does it do or in what state it is? And here we've got mother goes. And it's they are in a relation, but they are in groups. So here is the group of subject, and here this attribute describes the subject. So here in my sentence it was a single. I've got the sentence that I already talked about. A single mother goes to a store with me. So single describes a mother, because a mother, what kind of mother, can be a question. Usually you've got attributes are usually adjectives, but not always, right? But usually they are adjectives. Single, right? A single mother. And that's a group of a subject. And here, a group of a predicate, adverbial. Adverbials usually say how the action is done. How, when, why, what for, and so on. Those are the questions also of adverbs, right? And here, adverbial structures. So, a single mother goes to a store. Where? Now, what is with me? It's here, object. Object. Object, it's like object, right? But in Polish it's called dopełnienie, and I believe it's better. Dopełnienie is something that completion, like something like a completion, like I don't know what would be the noun for that. Completion, maybe that object in Polish. This is dopełnienie here, because in fact this completes whether here or here. So with me is such a thing, and with me a single mother goes to a store with me. So here with me would be the object here, goes with me. And this, okay, because I believe this is easy, this is easy, this is easy, this is easy. This gets complicated, like to understand what is this object. Or object in compound sentences, what is the object sentence in the compound sentence, right? Why is it difficult? Because you don't have cases. I mean, you have cases, but you don't name them, and you say you don't have any declaration. Now, all the idea of the object, dopełnienie in Polish, is that the questions are the questions of cases. You know? I'm sorry, I need to drink something, I think. The question of cases, but not nominativus and not vocativus, all the other. And I put here in English, so for example, it can be genitivus, of what or whose. Like here, for example, whose mother. Or dativus, to what. Or accusativus, what. It can be, those are questions, right? Or with what? Here you've got instrumentalis, that's instrumentalis, with what or with who. And here object is with me. A single mother goes with me to a store. With me is an object, and the question is of instrumentalis is with who, or with whom, with me. Okay, so that's it. That's more or less it. Now, I said how it is in Polish. I will show you in English how it looks like. It's like that. I said that, right? Subject, mother, and here goes, predicate, and here to a store would be adverbial, right? But here I put to show you that object goes here or here. So here is of John. For example, a mother of John. I didn't put here the article. Okay, a mother of John goes, a single mother of John goes with me to a store. So now with me is an object and of John is an object. And I consider it very difficult to explain that to English speakers, and maybe that's why you don't do it, because when you don't have cases, I don't know how you really understand what is this object. It's sometimes to me it's like, it's so like, I just feel it. There is no feeling in grammar. You just need to know. You need to have those questions and all that. Okay, so again, I'm just finishing now. Now, why is it important, that level, to know the names of parts of a sentence? Because after that, from the single sentence, you make a compound sentence. And that's how, in Polish, this is the whole science, how you make it. However, it's not well explained in schools, but you should normally learn it from a single sentence. For example, here there is this table I created. It's in Polish, but I will tell you. Samotna matka idzie ze mną do sklepu. So you've got all those words. A single mother goes with me to a store. And I put here the names of parts of a sentence, meaning single, it's przydawka, meaning attribute. Mother, it's an subject. And idzie, goes, it's a predicate, verb. And then ze mną, with me, it's an object. And do sklepu, to a store, it's an adverbial, right? And when you've got that, you understand that you take, to create your compound sentence. That's how it works. You do it quickly when you are born in a language. But when you learn, that's complicated. To create your compound sentence and make it logical, you do it, the basis is a single sentence. You just take one word. In fact, you take one part of a sentence, not word, because here it's like 7 words, but 5 parts of a sentence. 7 parts of a speech, meaning 7 words, and 5 parts of a sentence. And to create a compound sentence, you take one parts of a sentence, not one part of speech, and you exchange. You put a whole new sentence instead of one part of a speech, of a sentence, sorry. For example, mother. If you want to have a subject compound sentence, meaning a compound sentence with a subject subordinate, you take out mother, and you can do something simple with it, like that who is a mother. That's already a sentence. So, and you would have that who is a mother, or that who is a single mother, goes with me to a store. And you've got a compound sentence with a subject subordinate. And I don't know, I have no idea how you can explain making such sentences compound sentences without passing first by the whole idea of what are the parts of a sentence. If you've got that knowledge, what are the parts of a sentence, then then you just take one part and you put the whole sentence instead. And that's a simple sentence, but when you learn on simple sentences, you will be able to do it for bigger. But for now, when people are learning, they are doing this it's like feeling, like going and listening what people do. And I must say, I didn't have much of that even when I was studying English and French. And I had the whole knowledge about types of compound sentences, adverbial structures, right? But I had to guess, right? Make the connection between adverb and adverbial and so on. And but I think it would be easier if there was this knowledge of parts of speech and parts of sentences. That's it from me. Okay. In Polish we do it like that. And I consider it easier. Okay, that's it from me. And remember that the language manifests the world.